session number 10. Fences Make Good Neighbors. You are watching Coach Kat and the Brother Moses show. The Brother Moses got a vaccination today, so he's kind of taking it easy, so you're kind of left with me. That's dangerous. So yes, we're talking about boundaries. You probably hear that a lot because we are a country rampant with boundary issues. And how do you know if you have a boundary issue? Well, it usually means you're fatigued, you're drained, you have emotions that are kind of out of proportion, you're very reactionary, and that's because there's all these holes poked into your vessel. Remember in session 1 where we were talking about energetic withdrawals and deposits and the leaks. When one doesn't have solid boundaries, then you're leaking energy. So you just find yourself depleted and you find yourself in this very distorted space. One of the words that gets bantered about when we're talking about boundaries is codependence. And it's hard to define codependence. I'm going to read from the expert because I'm not, Melody Beattie, Codependent No More, and huge bestseller kind of thing going on, and I'm sure it'll just keep selling more and more and more. It's a great book. And I'll read her definition first because she deserves to be first. A codependent person is one who has let another person's behavior affect him or her and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. I'm going to put it in my little humble way, which is if you have a problem recognizing where you end and another person begins, you're dealing with codependence. When the definition of who you are is kind of overlaid or is under someone else's identity, that's called codependence. And it's pretty common. So your best bet is to kind of look at where do those leaks point? What relationships are causing you to lose sight of your boundaries, of your sense of self? Where do you start kind of peeking into the neighbor's yard or crossing the street and dealing with other people's issues? That's codependence. It's important to stay on your side of the street, take responsibility for your issues, for your feelings, and not be projecting or caretaking. When we're a codependent, you get caught in what's called a victim triangle. That's victim, persecutor, and caretaker. And you don't stay in one of those places. You kind of chase each other around the triangle, and it is a void. It is a black hole. There's no power there. So it's constant struggles. You want out of that. You've got to break those patterns. And me saying it is a heck of a lot easier than doing it. If you're in relationship with somebody who has an addiction, whether they're going to AA or not, a great 12-step program is Al-Anon. And they will tell you all about codependence and how to work with it. So if this stirs you, if you're like, oh my God, that's me, I know that's me, I know that's me, you need to seek help, whether that's one-on-one or that's going into a group situation, because it doesn't go away on its own. It becomes very insidious. It very much becomes a way of life. So to break those patterns, to break yourself out of the trance, you need support. And the 8-ball's not gonna get it. Okay, so let's kind of play with one area of your life where you think you may be struggling with boundaries. So you're gonna find this body outline on my website, catandmoses.com, and we're going to use this. So we're going to, in other words, the outline of the body becomes our boundary, literally. And what I want you to do is think of a person or situation which may have questionable boundaries. First of all, you have to have that identified. Then, on the inside of the body, you're going to write down your feelings about that situation or about that person. Make sense? I think, hopefully. On the outside are what is coming to you in terms of feelings and thoughts from external sources. So you will have certain ways of thinking and feeling about the issue. They go in here, and all the external messages will go on the outside. Let me give you an example. So I decided, I wasn't really going to deal with a person because I've kind of dealt with that, and it was quite a process. But what I chose to work with for this assignment, this art process, is food. Oh boy. Food. We can become very enmeshed with food. We can become obsessed with food. We can become very controlling with food. I can become very controlling with food. I can become very obsessed with food. So what I did is on the inside, I wrote down all the things I think about when it comes to food. You can't eat this, you can't eat that. I mean, there's a lot of control that goes on internally when it comes to food for me. And then of course we know with food, the messages never stop. If you listen to the radio or you watch television, it is constant bombardment with food messages. And what I realized when I did this assignment was, wow, they're getting into me. Like all those external opinions, and there's so many that conflict, they're all seeping in. That I don't have strong enough boundaries when it comes to food and thinking around food. I don't have my personal space without adopting and accommodating all this external pressure. So what I want you to do after you do that, and let's see if you might come to the conclusion, wow, I could use stronger boundaries. I could build a thicker fence, wall, partition between me and that person or me and that situation. So for me, to strengthen my boundaries, I put down a couple ideas. One, just to do some deep breathing before I start eating or before I make my food choices, to eat slower, and to recognize that my feelings of confidence and comfort and all those positives are not going to come from the food. They're going to come from the people I might be sharing the food with, and to put my energy there and to be present to them versus me trying to bond with my food. I'm not going to get much out of that. And neither will you. I hope this helps. And again, please reach out to somebody. You're welcome and you're encouraged to leave comments, and anything I could do for you, I'd be happy to do that. I don't recommend this as a solution, but it's still a lot of fun to play with it. And I do encourage play. Play, 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 play. I'll see you soon. Bye. Hello, this is Coach Kat and my co-therapist, Brother Moses. We're here to answer your most burning questions. And when you do have a question, most definitely come visit katandmoses.com and you can reach us from there. So here is the question of the day. Dear Kat, I am the most impatient person. I snap all the time at my children, my husband, and my friends. What can I do to begin to work on this? Signed, impatient as hell. Well, what I'm going to tell you to do is to look back to session number 1 on the Kat and Moses Show and consider that incoming, outgoing balance. So the possibilities is there's not enough incoming resources to make you buoyant, or that you are leaking on the outgoing, meaning you have people, places, and things in your life that are draining your energy, because impatience comes as a result of an energy deficit. So take a peek at the incoming and outgoing. One of the ways that we end up having leaks and hemorrhages in our life is unresolved grief, guilt, regrets, and resentments. So we probably have some work to do to get you out of that impatient place and to get you back up on your feet. Hope that helped. Talk to you soon. This is Coach Kat signing off.